Hello! In this video, I'm not going to be drawing, but I am going to be giving you some advice. So I know a lot of the people that watch my videos are beginners and you're just learning and want to get better. So I'm going to give you the advice that I wish I had when I was younger and the advice that I give my own students. The first is practice. I know it seems like, oh, well, duh, but every single day people say to me, oh, I can't even draw a stick person. I can't even draw a line. And they're just always going on about how they could never, ever do that. Or I'm not talented. I don't have an artistic bone in me. That's my hugest pet peeve in the universe. Because if you think about it, you couldn't just walk right away when you were a toddler. You couldn't, shoot a three-pointer the first try. You couldn't read a book the first try. You can't play an instrument the first try. Like, all of those things, everything in life takes practice. It's not just some innate ability that we have. Learning might come more easily to some people than others, but honestly, it's work. No matter what you're doing, if you want to get better at it, you gotta work. One of my favorite phrases, it's also a poster I made in my room, is hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Because I know so many people that for them, yeah, learning comes easy, but then they don't do anything with it, and so they never get better. But then there's that person that really has that drive to keep going and to succeed, and they practice and they are drawing all the time and they're working their butt off. So they may have started down here while the other person was up here, but if that person doesn't do anything with their work, this person who's working real hard is easily going to surpass them. Along the same lines as practice is experimenting. So when we experiment and we take risks, we're going to figure out stuff that we may not have known about before because we tried something different. So I know a lot of artists, including myself, I've been known to do this. We stick with what we're good at because it's easy. Like, oh, I'm good at drawing people, so I draw people because it's easy. But, if you keep doing that for the rest of your life, it's going to get really boring. You're never going to get better. You're never going to grow. It's just going to be the same thing over and over and over again. So if you really want to grow as an artist, you need to experiment. And you need to play and really kind of lose that fear of failure. So failure is kind of a huge thing that a lot of people have difficulty with, myself included. We're really afraid to fail for a number of reasons. Maybe we're straight A students and getting an F on something or even a B on something is terrifying. I totally get that. I was that student. Or, at least me now, it's more like, oh, I have a $20 sheet of paper. I don't want to mess it up because I paid a lot of money for it. Or I don't want to waste my art supplies because I paid a lot of money for it. Definitely get that. But here's the deal. If you want to experiment, just get cheap stuff. Like, I'm going to start a series of paintings on cardboard because it's totally cool if they don't turn out. Because I'm not wasting money on it because it's cardboard. And it might even look cool. So getting rid of that fear of failure is really going to help you grow, because a lot of times when we fail, we learn something from it. Maybe you accidentally come across a technique that looks really cool and you never would have done it had you not tried something and failed. Maybe you just learn better the process of what's working because you understand what doesn't work. For example, I was never very good at ceramics. I struggled so much at making anything with clay. Even in college, everything I made was lopsided and wonky, and I just really had a hard time with it. And it took until I had to teach it that I really got the fire put under me. I'm like, well, I don't want my students to be better than me, because that would be embarrassing. Don't worry, a lot of them are better than me. But you know what? That's cool. Because that motivation of me wanting to get better so that I can teach the subject really, really helped. It took me 10 years to be able to actually make what I draw in ceramics. So don't expect it to just happen overnight. You know, it takes a lot of practice. And I feel like I'm a better teacher for it because I know through all of those failures that I had, what works and what doesn't work. So I can help students a lot better because I know exactly what mistakes are going to happen if you do this because I've made them all, right? So failing is good. It may not feel good at the time, but you're going to learn more from it than you are going to learn from succeeding. Of course, succeeding feels good, but failure makes stuff better if you learn from it. It's really important when you go into a learning situation that you check your ego at the door. And, you know, artists have egos. That's kind of our thing. Like, we're all snooty. We've got our little swagger when we walk in the room. Not all of us, but I feel like it's a good stereotype. I mean, I know I had it my freshman year of college. I walk into art school being like, oh yeah, I'm the best. Everyone loves me. I got A's on all my projects. I'm gonna rock this. Yeah, my first grade was a C. And I'm pretty sure it was just my professor telling me to leave my ego outside. Because there's no place for it in a classroom when you're learning. Because your ego's just gonna get in the way. And like all the things I've said before, you're just gonna stick with what you're good at and you're not gonna do anything to grow. Because that ego keeps you from doing all of those things. So check it at the door, leave your ego behind, and you're going to get better because you're not going to be afraid of bruising that fragile little ego. As you develop your skills, your techniques, your ideas, it's really, really important that you start to develop your own style. So I know a lot of people, when they start with art, just copy stuff. Like, oh, I copy my favorite cartoon character, or I copy this photograph that I saw on the internet, or I'm drawing all my favorite celebrities. You know, that's good practice. It's good. I'm not going to say don't do it, but there comes a point in time in which you need to go beyond that, because just copying doesn't really show us anything about you as an artist, you know? So you need to start to develop your own style and your own imagery and your own concepts so that you stand out from the crowd and you're not just a person who copies things, right? If you wanted to enter a contest or sell your work, copies aren't gonna fly for that. A lot of times there's plagiarism rules, like it's plagiarism to copy someone else's stuff and sell it, right? So you don't want to do that. It's bad.
It's bad.
You know, you don't want to try and enter a contest with a copy of someone else's stuff because they'll never accept it because it's plagiarism. So anytime you want to make gains, stay away from copying other people's stuff. And so it's really important that you start to think about who you are and what matters to you, because those are the things that are going to help you develop your own sense of style and technique and imagery. So think of your concept, your idea. What does your art mean? What are you trying to say to the audience? So when someone comes and looks at your artwork in a gallery or on the wall or even on the internet, is it going to speak to them? Is it going to say something? Is it going to mean something? Or is it just like, it's a drawing? You know? So work on thinking about those things. Maybe even just like writing lists or just writing in general. Like, I think I wrote pages and pages about my last series of artwork before I even made anything, because I was just thinking about my experiences in life and how they affected who I am. And that helped me come up with ideas for what I wanted to do for my artwork. So developing your own style is super important, and it's going to make you stand out from the crowd. Now, if you feel like you're at a good point where you want to start getting your artwork out there more and you want more people to see it and you want to maybe sell it or exhibit it places, you need to network. Now, this was the scariest part for me because I hate talking to people. Just talking to this camera is scary. So, like talking to strangers, like people who run galleries or, people who might buy my artwork. That's terrifying. And it's just something you have to get over if you want to sell your artwork, because they aren't always going to come to you. You got to go to them. So, maybe you're just working to introduce yourself to business people. Business people have money. Business people need art on their walls. Great ideas. But even then, maybe you're just like introducing yourself to people around the community that might have an investment in art. And that's going to give you a lot of opportunities, and it's going to put you in people's minds. So when they're having conversations with other people, they might say, oh yeah, that one girl, she does this sort of stuff. She'd be perfect for this. So I feel like most of my opportunities have happened just because someone thought of me as they were coming up with ideas for something. And it keeps me busy. So, and I barely even have to do anything because I did all the legwork earlier to get my name out there. So, network, talk to people, talk to strangers. I know that's normally against the rules, but in this case, talk to strangers. Show them your artwork, because maybe they might like it and something good will happen. So that's the advice I have for today. If you want any other advice about artwork or making art or selling art or displaying art, leave a comment for me and maybe I'll make another one of these videos. If you have suggestions for things you'd like to learn that are not already on my channel, go ahead and hit me up. And I've got 2 months until school starts again, so I've got a little bit of time. All right, thank you for watching.